Hey guys, Daryl here with Divergence Training. Been getting some questions lately about our upcoming survival course and the packing list or the equipment list for that course. So I thought I'd go over those minimum items we'd really like you to have at the course, and then also a few other items that I carry in my own personal kit. This goes with me even for a day hike. It's really my minimum kit. It goes in my vehicle with me. It goes pretty much everywhere with me. So the first thing you want to think about is obviously clothing appropriate for the weather. That's a nice sunny, about 45, 50 degree day here in Arizona. So I generally wear long pants, something a little more durable for the woods typically. I've got wool socks on, really avoid cottons, those kind of things. I prefer smart wool socks or Darn Tough. They're just great socks to have, and some really good appropriate footwear. Your upper layers, looking at maybe a bottom layer, a middle, and an outside. That bottom wicking away some moisture, that middle giving you some baffling for cold, and then that outside layer giving you some protection from the elements. A lot of times forgotten, even in warmer weather, I carry a beanie with me as well because it does tend to get cold at night, and it's a real game changer when you're trying to sleep out in the woods. It gets cold and your head's exposed. You lose a lot of heat through the head and neck area, so really big game changer. And a lot of people will also remember gloves in cold weather, but they don't think about gloves to protect your hands. I'm an old pilot, so I've got these leather palmed flight gloves. I love these things. But when I'm working with a lot of wood, working with blades, a lot of times I'll wear those to protect myself, kind of prevent injury out in the field. Some other items on the list, obviously we want you to have a really good knife. So a quality fixed blade knife, we prefer about 4 to 5 inch blade length. Full tang knife is preferred. Like this one right here, we do have a full tang along the back. We have a sharpened spine, not required, but that's a real good added benefit for striking ferrocerium rods, for shaving wood, that kind of thing. And then I do prefer a Scandi grind blade. Those are my preferences, but you really don't have to spend a lot of money on a knife. You really can't go wrong with this Mora. Yeah, it can break. It's not a full tang knife. It doesn't have that sharpened spine, but I'll tell you, for 20 bucks, this thing's really hard to beat. And you'll find a lot of these floating around in my bags, especially in obnoxious colors like this, because then they're a lot harder to lose in a survival situation. What do I carry as far as my everyday carry in the woods? My kind of tier 1 or my layer 1 on my body. I've always got my Riker ankle first aid kit. This is my trauma kit. Has all the trauma supplies I need, and then I also carry my soft T-wide tourniquet in my back pocket. And we do have a trauma kit on the list as a required item. Not required, but I always do carry my Swiss Army knife here. Really great tool to have as a backup to my fixed blade. And then a lighter and or a Ferrocerium rod. Now this is a miniature lighter. I do carry a bigger one in my kit, but these two go in my pocket. So I have them on me at all times. If I lose my bag for whatever reason, I've got a quick way to start fire, as well as a little bit of wax impregnated cotton right here as fire tinder. And I do carry a couple hanks of 6-foot paracord just in my pocket. Really helps for some daily tasks if I don't want to start digging into my bag, that kind of thing. Another required item on the list is we do have 2 either shamags or cotton bandanas. Lots of uses for these. I have one of each here, so man, I'll tell you what, just wearing a shamag around your neck protects you from the sun. In desert environments, you can wet it down. It really cools you down. Just a great overall tool to have, and there's a ton of uses for this, as well as the cotton bandana, and we will go over those uses in the course. As a supplement to my trauma kit right here in my bag, I've got an extra tourniquet. This is a Cat Gen 7. And then I've got this bag. It's just got a lot of boo-boo items, some extra gauze, some supplementations, moleskin, you know, that kind of thing, just for any of those little minor injuries I might get in the field. You really want to take care of those little minor injuries in any outdoor survival situation. It's a dirty environment, and a wound can go septic pretty quick, so that's a big deal. All right, water container. We just put water container on the list. What I do prefer, however, is a 32-ounce single-wall stainless steel bottle and a nesting cup. I always put a cup on my bottles. Once you try to start filling bladders and things like that, the cup really helps, as well as this is a sealer to make charred material, anything like that. You can boil in the stainless bottle, something you really can't do in a bladder or a plastic bottle. That's why I prefer this. We did want you to have some sort of tarp, poncho, or survival blanket. I've got a couple examples here. You'll find both of these in my pack, in my kit. So I've got this Soul emergency space blanket. This one's a couple bucks more than those, $3 Coghlan's ones you'll find at the sporting goods store, but I'll tell you, it's worth the money. They last quite a bit longer. I've got an orange side and a reflective side to this. It packs up really small. And then this is really the blanket I prefer. This is a survival blanket, but you see we've got a reflective inside to it. So this is about a 60 or 80 by 60 tarp with grommets on the corners and this reflective inside. This is great for making a survival shelter. A little more bulky, but it's really worth the bulk. Super light as well. So you'll see me carrying this in my kit pretty much all the time. We'd like you to have about 50 feet of 550 paracord. A lot of different kinds of cordage you can carry. I've got a whole line kit with some bank line, some paracord, and some stakes, just so I can do a shelter really fast. I do have my rapid ridge line in here, and that's something we're going to go over in the course, kind of how I set this up to get up our shelter really fast in some sort of inclement weather that hits you unexpectedly. We did say a ferrocerium rod or a Bic lighter. I will have my whole fire kit here. So in this fire kit, I've got a magnifying lens, I've got a larger Bic lighter in a bright color, harder to lose, a couple of tea lights, I've got a little bit of fire tinder stored in straws. This is Vaseline infused cotton ball stored in the straw. And then I've got a large ferrocerium rod. If you're going to carry one, carry a big one. These throw really hot sparks, and more is better in a survival situation, you know, when you're trying to get a fire started really quick. Or maybe you're going hypothermic, you know, gross motor skills start to go down, something just bigger to hold on to is a lot easier to use. Headlamp, I think this goes without saying why you'd want this. We do say flashlight or headlamp, and I do prefer a headlamp. This obviously allows for hands-free use. With that, bring some extra batteries anytime you've got any powered devices. It really helps when that battery just runs out on you unexpectedly. And then note-taking materials. Obviously, I got my pen, got a pencil here, and we've got our Write in the Rain. Write in the Rain pad's a whole lot better. We will train in any weather, so your standard notebook, when it's raining, it'll probably fall apart. So I really do prefer Write in the Rains for notes in the outdoors. And you know, that really covers just this side right here, covers our minimum items for the survival course. You can add a few items, and some recommended things we put on there is we did put a compass. This is Sunto MC2 Global. It's about an $80 compass, but honestly, any compass will do as long as it has a sighting mirror and it has a movable bezel. You can get one for probably a Silva for 20-25 bucks. For our purposes, for this survival course, that will do. Awesome. Water purification methods. We will be procuring our water. Boiling is the best method, which is why I prefer that metal container. But I prefer to have some sort of filtration system, and I actually didn't pull it out, but I do have chlorine dioxide tabs I carry as well. They're shoved into this little bag I have right here. The Sawyer Mini is my preferred one for my kits. It's extremely small. It's only 20 bucks, and it filters down to 0.1 micron, which is better than a lot of the Life Straws and Catadine products out there. Something I carry, Arizona. Hard to get to water sometimes. Carry about 3 feet of surgical tubing. I can hook this directly to the Sawyer, use it as an inline straw, and drink out of a crack or crevice, maybe some water I can't get to with my hands. Still be able to get a sip when I find it out there. And then as well as water containers, I always carry a 3-liter bladder as well, in addition to my primary container. And the reason for that is water is really hard to find in Arizona. I mean, if you're somewhere like the eastern woodlands, if you're down in the swamps in the southeast, water's just everywhere. Yeah, carry yourself a good filtration method, maybe 1 or 2 bottles, and that'll do you. But even on a day hike in Arizona where it's dry out here in the desert or even the high desert or high alpine, man, a gallon of water a day is what I minimum carry with me for my planned, if I don't have really solid planned resupplies. So for a day hike, full gallon of water per person, everyone should be carrying that. Signaling devices. One of the best signaling devices out there is a mirror. We'll learn how to use this really well. I prefer a glass one. They are a little more expensive, but it's really worth it. The plastic ones will scratch up on you pretty badly. Awesome. So some other items you're going to find in my pack here. You know, if I know I'm going to be doing a lot of water resupply, this is bulky, a little heavier, but this Grail water bottle is worth its weight in gold. It's super fast. It filters out absolutely everything. And I'll tell you what, it's just really easy to use. It'll filter out chemicals, viruses, protozoa, bacteria, you name it. Just a really solid piece of kit here. And I will take the extra bulk in the weight, like I said, if I know I'm going to be doing a lot of water resupplies. We talked about the shamag and the bandana. Something I might carry in some other environments, specifically a wet one instead of a shamag, or as my second one, is I do have a sniper veil here. And what this is It's 40 by 40 inches, just like the Shimag. You put it over your neck, it keeps the sun off of you just the same. But then I also have a makeshift net if I want to do any fishing, any bodies of water, anything like that. So just something to consider that you might switch out in your kit for different environments. Always tucked in the back of my bag, you're going to find a 55-gallon 3mm Drumliner or two. These are great for moisture barriers when you're sleeping. You can fill them up with a lot of browse, make yourself a browse bed, some good insulation off the ground. These take up literally no space, so pretty much all my packs have one or two of these just slipped right down the back. Just a great thing to have, multiple uses. Something else with multiple uses, everyone knows duct tape. It's good stuff, right? So I carry a 1-inch roll of Gorilla Tape. I do prefer the Gorilla Tape brand over pretty much everything else for its obvious duct tape uses. This has some really high tensile strength if you twist it as well, and it's also flammable. So you can use it as kind of a makeshift fire starter if you need to do that. As far as additional cutting tools, obviously I've got my fixed blade knife. I carry my Swiss Army knife. For the weight and the price of this Baco Laplander saw, I'll tell you what, you really can't beat it. It's super lightweight. It's about 20 bucks. Slides right down the side of your pack. You won't even know it's there. I do prefer, in a survival situation, a saw over some sort of a chopping device like an axe or a hatchet because it's just a lot safer. And you're already in a survival situation because something went wrong. Why are you going to risk doing something else that's going to make stuff go wrong? Saws are so much safer to use. And then it's really easy to collect the sawdust that makes good fire starting material. Again, super lightweight, and for its price, really can't beat it. Something a lot of people don't think about in a survival situation is, what if you're down in Arizona, say in the low desert down here, you just don't have much fuel available, right? But you may have to boil some water, do something with heat. So something I really like to have in my pack, and this thing is about, oh God, I forget what it says it was, but about 6 ounces. This is the Firebox Nano Titanium. It's a super light stove. It burns wood. You can put a Trangia alcohol burner in it right here. You can put Esbit tabs in it, but it really efficiently burns those sticks. So with 4 sticks, I've been able to cook entire meals on this stove. If you do bring the alcohol burner with it, you're obviously going to need some alcohol right here. Alcohol, these stoves will burn. You can burn the yellow or the red heat. You can burn denatured alcohol, 70 or 90% isopropyl. But what do I carry? This is 190 proof grain alcohol because there's a lot of uses for that. You don't want to be drinking it in a survival situation, but if I end up in a place for a little bit longer, I can use it to maybe do some herbal medicine, tincturing some dried herbs. It burns really well, and I can also use it as an antiseptic for wounds. So a lot of uses for this. Does add some weight to my pack, but in an area where I might not have a lot of fuel, I think the stove and the alcohol burner are really worth it to me. And the last thing a lot of people, not the last thing, I got a couple of things here. I throw just in a couple of hot hands because the #1 killers out in the woods are typically core body temperature control, so hypothermia, right? And then dehydration. You notice I hit water really hard here. Well, I got a couple hand warmers, and I know they don't last very long, but I tell you what, they just shove down a pocket. If I'm cold, if my hands are wet and I just can't move them, just something to get my hands warmed up enough so I can use my other tools to start a fire. If I'm starting to lose those motor skills and really losing the function of my hands, to me, that's worth the wait right there. And then the last thing we want to think about is, if you're in a survival situation, you obviously need to signal for rescue. We talked about the mirror. We're going to talk about a lot of things in the course, but I do carry some decent comm devices. So I carry the Spot X right here. KJ and I, we do a lot of backcountry, off the trail type stuff. And this thing is basically a satellite texting device. The battery lasts for a pretty long time, and we can shoot up. We can do check-ins with our trusted agents we've left our trip plan with, and then there's an SOS button on here that'll send the cavalry if we really get into a pickle. This thing's about 250 bucks. We just got it, and we're really starting to get used to using it and everything. But so far, really digging this item right here. And something else we carry, and we'll go over this, what I carry in here. This is my ham radio kit. I do have a 5-watt Baofeng. I've got a couple different antennas I carry. I carry this 14.5-inch diamond right here to push some range. And then in this, I also have a full wavelength antenna that I can hang into a tree. That'll extend the range of my Baofeng pretty good. And then if we're fairly close to my vehicle, I have a 50-watt rig in my vehicle that also serves as a repeater. so I can contact my truck, which will push out to any larger repeaters and push out all over the state through some of the links. And that's definitely something we're going to talk about and something to consider. It is a little heavier in weight, not as necessary if you're carrying something like the Spot, and you obviously have your cell phone if you can get cell phone service, but just something I like to have in my pack. So that's about it for the items. Now, what do I carry them in? I do have two different bags. My backpack's sitting behind the camera right here. It's a little day pack. One thing I do have, though, is a lot of these smaller items right here. So the water bottle, my Ferrocerium Rod, my fire kit, and my note-taking stuff, my bandana, and some of the comfort items I have in here. Can't go without my coffee. I put down in this bag right here, and then this goes into my backpack. This has a nice little shoulder strap on it. So if I do get into some sort of situation that I need to maybe gather some materials, I can pull this out, sling it over my shoulder. I have a bunch of extra room in my backpack now. And then if I set up some sort of a base camp, you know, if I've got a bigger bag, a longer trip, or I just don't want to take my day pack with me, I'll just pull this out, sling it over my shoulder, and I really do have the absolute minimum necessary items to handle myself in that, in addition to what's on my body in my pockets. Awesome. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to email us at info@divergencetraining.com. You can DM us on Instagram. That's where we're going to be posting this video. And look forward to seeing you in some of our upcoming survival courses. Keep an eye on our website, and we look forward to seeing you there.